Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today is going to be a pretty cool episode because I'm interviewing a double threat. And what I mean by double threat, she is the granddaughter of Alan Hale Jr., you know, the skipper on Gilligan's Island. Come on, there's no time for that, little buddy. And she's also a person in my department. She is a stand-up comedian. Her name is Samantha Hale. And I'm having her on the podcast today. I just found out about her recently. I think somebody brought her up in a podcast and said that she was the granddaughter of Alan Hale Jr. And I'm like, really? I gotta fucking look this girl up, and I did. She made me laugh almost till I pissed my pants. I was laughing. Oh, she is hilarious. And I had to have her on the podcast and talk about comedy, talk about her famous grandfather, all that stuff. And it's going to be pretty fucking sweet. I'm so glad. It's going to be just off the hook, and she should be calling me any moment now. So yeah, here is my new interview with Samantha Hale. Now let's sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this desert island on an unfateful trip. I think that's how it goes. Hi, Samantha.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you so much for coming on. This is awesome.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, absolutely. I had
Having me.
Yeah, I was listening to one of the stand-up comedian podcasts, like Bert Kreischer or Theo Von or something, and whoever was being interviewed was brought you up, saying, "Did you know that?" Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but said, the skipper from Gilligan's Island, his granddaughter is a stand-up comedian here in L.A., and I was like, really? And then I looked you up and found you, and I was laughing my ass off.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. How cool.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I did not know that, because I've been doing stand-up 13 years, and I didn't know that.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm glad we found each other.
Yeah, that's so awesome, and plus you're the same age as me.
Nice.
So, aside from the fact that you are a hilarious stand-up comedian, you are the granddaughter of Alan Hale Jr.
I am.
The skipper on Gilligan's Island. At what age did you wake up one day and realized you were the skipper's granddaughter?
I was the first grandchild, and obviously I was the favorite. I was first. But I was 7 when he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being in elementary school and because my dad looked a lot like him, almost just like him, especially as he got older. And whenever he would drop me off at school, people would say, "Oh, that's we're dropping you off." I mean, obviously, not very good chronologically. But that's when I started thinking, oh, wow, I guess my grandpa people know who he was. And I would come home from school and I would watch Gilligan's Island on Channel 11. It was on like every afternoon at 3 or 4 o'clock or whatnot. And that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm really grateful for that I have, so much footage of my family. And the amazing thing is that my dad sounded like him. So whenever I miss my dad, I can just put on Gilligan's Island and I can hear him, which is pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. I watched it on TNT and TBS growing up. It was always one of my favorites. And
yeah.
I had a car accident 4 years ago, and while I was in the hospital, I was in the hospital 5 months, and while I was in there, I watched a lot of Gilligan's Island on TV Land.
Yeah, well, it's an upbeat, silly, happy, campy show. How could you not be in a good mood watching that?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, the TV only had 10 channels, so that was like one of the channels that I got to watch. And,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't watched it in a long time. I was just cracking up at stuff I remembered seeing and stuff. Do you have a favorite episode?
All of them, obviously. I always liked like those dream sequences.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was one episode, wasn't there one where they were like in a castle and they were doing sort of,
Yep.
they were all playing crazy like Dracula characters.
Yeah.
I love that. That was fun. I don't know. I'm sure I've seen all of them. I have the box set, but do you know that my very first stand-up show that I ever did, Tom Wells came and sat in the front row.
Really?
Yeah, pretty cool to have Mary Ann right there.
Oh, what'd she think?
She actually, it's funny. I saw her just a few weeks ago, and I said to her, I said, Dawn, do you remember that you came to my very first show ever? And she said, uh-huh. Then I laughed. And I was like, ooh. I thought it was so funny. She's a sassy lady, and I love her for it. Yeah, no, she had a great time, and it was so wonderful to have her there. She's kind of, we've adopted each other into, she's like a grandmother to me almost.
Yeah, she was in a great horror movie from the 70s I love called The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Uh-huh, exactly. Classic.
Yeah, Andrew Prine, and it's based on a true story. A guy was going around killing people with like a sheet over his head.
Right.
And stuff. Yeah, that's a good one. My two favorite episodes, I love the one where Don Rickles is the con man.
Oh, that's right.
And my favorite one is when the guys who did the theme song, the Wellingtons, are the Mosquitoes. That rock band.
Wasn't there an episode too with the Harlem Globetrotters?
Oh, they did a whole TV movie of that in 1981.
Yeah, that was the whole movie.
Yeah, with Martin Landau.
Right. And I think there was an episode, wasn't Zsa Gabor on an episode?
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
She was on an episode. Rory Calhoun was on there. Kurt Russell was on there as a kid.
That's insane. That's crazy.
And Richard Donner directed a lot of episodes.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
That's fabulous. I think sometimes I almost feel kind of bad sometimes because sometimes people know more about my family history than I do. I hate to admit it. But I'm just, I go and I look on his IMDb and I'm like, oh my goodness, he was in so many things. And people will be like, oh, I saw your great-grandfather in the 1937 blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, wow, cool, I think I've seen that one. They know everything about it. I'm like, wow, it just does a lot for how much people really love old Hollywood and Gilligan's Island. And it's just so cool to be a part of that in some way, by blood.
Yeah, it's very admirable that you don't know a whole lot of, his history and his work because you see him as, your grandfather and not,
right.
a celebrity.
Right. Somebody just sent me a link to this video on YouTube that was like Alan Hale's personal life and early career, and it's like I just was tearing up looking at it because it was all of these wonderful movies and pictures. There was a still of him and Marilyn Monroe, and I just thought, oh my God, that's amazing. I had remembered that. Oh yeah, I think he did get to work with her, but to see the picture, just I don't know, it's just so intense and so cool.
Yeah. And, oh my God, he did a lot of good stuff. Did you ever see when he was in the Michael Keaton movie Johnny Dangerously?
I love that movie, and I just it was on the other day, and I filmed on my phone the scenes that he was in, and I put it on my Instagram story. Of course, I love that movie.
Yeah, it just is the double take he does when he sees Mary Lou Henner's cleavage with the money in it.
Oh, I know. He was so cheesy, and I love him for it. Just the looks on his face, just those double takes, and those, he was just so lovable. And I've tried to dig up some dirt on him to get some good jokes out of it, and everyone that I've ever met that ever worked with him said, oh, he was just so nice and so wonderful. I'm like, you're not helping me here.
I never heard anybody say anything bad about him.
No, never heard a single thing.
Yeah. I remember he was on an episode of Batman. He played a bartender named Gilligan.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, the other day, I came home from a show and I walked in. I just turned on the TV to whatever it was tuned into, and it happened to be an episode of the Andy Griffith Show.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to be the episode Farmer Takes a Wife, where he played the farmer who was looking for a wife, and it was funny because he kept calling, was it Barney Fife?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Barney Fife.
Yeah, he kept calling him Little Buddy. Yeah, and this was way before Gilligan's Island, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I don't know the origin of Little Buddy. Maybe he made that up when he was actually on the show.
I don't know. It might have been just something he just said, and it kind of caught on. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that was something he said, several times before, and then just put it into, the pilot, and then it took off,
Right.
I remember one of the last things he did before he died, he played like a guardian angel that looked like the skipper on Growing Pains.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah. That's pretty. And did you remember he was on an episode of Alf, too?
Was he on Alf?
Remember Alf? Yeah. He
Yeah.
was on Alf. He was on The Love Boat. He was, and then, of course, what was it, Back to the Beach with Annette Funicello?
Yep. Yeah, and Bob Denver, of course.
Yeah, a little cameo in that.
Actually, right? I do remember him on Alf now because it was during, I think it was when Alf was, trying to be Johnny Carson and he was having guests on or something. It may have been that one.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I think of it. Yeah.
That's about right.
Wow. And did he start out as a child actor?
I know that he was on set quite a bit with his father, Alan Hale Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And back then it was very different. In Hollywood, they still had apprenticeships.
Yeah.
So he was probably on set and was taken under, whoever's wing. His dad, of course, and whoever else that he was close to. And I don't remember what his first, how old he was when his first acting job was, but he was probably a young enough guy. He did a lot of stuff before Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, lots of stuff. He had a prolific career.
Right.
So with all this show business around you, did you know early on that you wanted to do comedy and act and all that?
I did not know that I wanted to do stand-up at all. That would not have crossed my mind at all. I thought I wanted to be an actor because I thought genetically I have to. And then, I want to carry on the family name. And when I was probably 12 or 13, I knew by then that I wanted to be performing or in the entertainment business. Right. And my great aunt, who was Karen Hale, she was my grandfather's sister. She was a script supervisor, and she worked on some of the most wonderful pictures. She worked on Annie Hall and All the President's Men, and pretty much anything with Warren Beatty. She kind of became Warren's right-hand script supervisor lady. Mm-hmm. And so she, once I became a teenager, she would take me to sets here and there and kind of got me. She's like, okay, I will bring you to sets and I will get you familiar with things, but you have to go to college first. She made this big deal. And I said, okay, fine. If I go to college, then you can help me. Great. Okay. And I was such a teenage little brat at the time. But she wound up unfortunately passing away. Mm-hmm. So by the time that I started pursuing acting when I was 18, my parents didn't have a lot of money, so they had to work. They weren't able to take me to auditions. Mm-hmm. So I started trying to do that myself once I got a car and was 18. And I just didn't have much luck with it. I got a couple things, but I was very frustrated because I felt that people assumed that I had any kind of connections, and they assumed that I had residuals from Gilligan's Island. And the thing is that my grandfather was very old Hollywood. Everyone in that era, they all passed away or retired, and residuals didn't happen until the 70s, and of course Gilligan's Island aired in the 60s, so that, nothing from that. But the reason why I was frustrated was because it felt like no matter how hard I was working, I wasn't getting anywhere because it was about who you knew or what you looked like and just things that were so out of your control. And then one day, years later, a friend of mine said, hey, I have tickets to the Women of Chelsea Lately at the Laugh Factory. Do you want to go? And I said, sure. So we went, and it was Natasha Leggero and Jen Kirkman and Sarah Colonna and Heather McDonald and just some really amazing female comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching them and just thinking, oh my gosh, these women know who they are. They're strong, they're opinionated, they're confident. They were everything that I wanted to be and felt that I hadn't learned how to do yet. So I wound up talking briefly to Natasha after the show, and somehow I found out through her about this class called Pretty Funny Women.
Mm-hmm.
It's run by Lisa Sunset, and it's basically, it's a class. I mean, she was running shows before she started the class, but the idea is that women are allowed to be pretty and funny and sexy and hot all together. You can be all those things. And so I took her class, and the rest is history. I started focusing on that.
Wow, that's kind of like Tiffany Haddish when she went to the Laugh Factory's comedy camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her instructors were Dom Irera and Charles Fleischer.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like that too. And what year did you start?
Well, almost 8 years ago.
8 years ago, so that's 2011.
Yeah.
Okay, I started in 2006 in San Francisco.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And when I started, comedy was at an all-time low because there wasn't many comedy superstars at that time left because of the oversaturation that happened in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and social media was just starting to take off, but nobody knew how to market comedy anymore yet,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a weird time, and over here you had these alternative comics, and then you had the one-liner comics, which is me. That's my department.
Yeah.
And
one-liners are hard, man. They're hard to write, so good on you. That's hard.
Oh, I've always been a good joke writer, even when I was a kid. It took me a while, but I was told in the first few weeks of doing stand-up by several comedians who were old enough to be my parents that had been doing it for 30 years that I was a pretty damn good joke writer and that I had really good construction of a joke.
Nice.
All the older comics loved me. All the ones in my age group fucking hated me.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was just insane. And only 10 comics I started out with are in LA right now and doing really well. And the rest of them, the hardest thing about stand-up is there's so many talented comedians who quit doing it after only 2 years. And there were so many there when I started in 2006 that were at this place called the Brainwash Cafe, which was a laundromat with an open mic. And yeah, there were so many great fucking people there that just disappeared after 2 years. And I'm still in touch with a lot of them. Some of them have gone on to improv comedy. Some of them just quit it completely. And it's sad, but the ones who are still doing it out in Los Angeles, there's a couple of them that I'm still friends with, I still like, and the other ones, I'm like, oh God, it's only a matter of time before the public finds them out.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, somebody said something to me the other day that made so much sense, because he had just moved here from the Midwest, LA.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got back home for a trip, someone said to him, like, oh, wow, what is LA like? What's Los Angeles like when it comes to comedy? He said, well, there's a million comics out here, and most of them are shit. But there are 10,000 brilliant comics. There are so many good ones, too. I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. There's a lot of really incredibly talented people here.
Mm-hmm. But it all depends on who stays in the game long enough.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that, they look at somebody like Leslie Jones, for example, and they think, oh, wow, she just blew up overnight. She just all of a sudden was on SNL, and oh my God, she came out of nowhere. No, she has been touring and working the road and just out there grinding for years. And then all of a sudden people say she's an overnight success. I'm like, no, she's been at it for so long, and she has earned every bit of her success,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my God. And then the podcast world comes, and then next thing you know, so many comedians' careers changed because next thing you know, they're selling tickets.
Yeah, yeah. It's just the world keeps evolving and changing. The artistic world, I should say. There's always something new. Whatever worked for someone 5 years ago is maybe not going to work anymore because some new platform appeared, some new technology, some new social media. That's part of our job too, is to keep up with that, which is it's just as much work, if not more work, than actually writing jokes and getting on stage.
Mm-hmm. The podcast world, started like 08, 09 or somewhere around there. I didn't know anything about it until like 2015. When I was recovering from my accident, I had a lot of time to rest in bed, and I listened to Joe Rogan and Mark Maron and Dom Irera, Live at the Laugh Factory, and all these different podcasts. And I'll tell you something. I could have this. When I haven't had very many friends or mentors in comedy, but this was the closest to it because I learned so much about the business that I never learned before.
Yeah.
And when I decided that I was going to pursue it, I just started getting all this wisdom from these guys and the people they're talking to who are in comedy as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so helpful and it's so important to have people around who've been in the game that can help you, guide you, give you advice, tell you, hey, don't do that, or hey, maybe try this. It's such a step up. Like if you have someone who's been in the game for years and years and years and they're willing to sit down with you or take you out on the road with them or whatnot, do it. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And oh my God, in this age of political correctness that we have, it's just killing it.
Oh, I know. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, let's all go to a comedy show and take everything too seriously. Like, why are you here? If you're going to be offended by everything, go. Granted, comedy, it's subjective. What's hysterical to one person is not going to be funny to someone else, and I get that. But the thing is if you're gonna go about talking about difficult subject matter, religion, politics, abortion, whatever it is, I don't feel that anything is off limits. As long as it's a smart joke, as long as you're saying something with it and it's an intelligent joke, I don't think anything is off limits.
Yeah, I have no filter. Go ahead.
No, nor should you. You shouldn't have a filter. That's the point. I don't want to say that's the point of comedy because it's different for everyone, but the idea is why play it safe? Why do the same bits that someone else has already done? Why, what's the point? Okay, you're going to write another, my wife thinks I should lose weight joke. Okay, well, great, we've heard that. What do you really want to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I have no filter to be offended by anything, I've always had a sick sense of humor that I got from my parents.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The only times that I've really been offended at a comedy show when the joke was so bad, it was offensive. Not having a punchline is offensive. Having a dark, dirty punchline, fine, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what clubs do you perform at mostly?
Wherever I get booked. It just depends. I'm starting a new show at Hamburger Mary's in West Hollywood.
Nice.
That's going to be on Saturday, my first one, which I'm excited about. I'm at Mickey's in West Hollywood every week, every Monday at 7 o'clock. I've got my show, Ruthless People Comedy. I work a lot. I am straight, but I work in a lot of gay rooms, and I open a lot of drag shows. Fabulous. I just kind of fell into it, became friends with one of the girls on the show, and just kind of made friends, and just was like, hey, you want to come over to my show? Sure. And it just kind of dominoed from there, which is amazing. But I also get in wherever I can, Comedy Store, Laugh Factory. I'll be there on Wednesday in Long Beach, which I'm excited about. It's actually our show Rainbow Pop, which is their monthly LGBTQ show, which is cool. And we always have a drag queen who hosts it. But, it's just anywhere I get booked, really. I'm in Palm Springs quite a bit at Toucan on Sunday. house down there. I'm down there quite a bit, or the Dreamboat Review at Urban Mode, which is exciting. So I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I'm bisexual, and
Nice.
yes, and in 2016, I took a trip to LA for 8 days, and I should have done more research. I hadn't heard any podcasts yet where they talked about how the comedy club system in 2016 had gone, and so I went to the Comedy Store on Monday night, and I competed with like 75 other guys to sign up, and I didn't get on.
The potluck?
Yeah, for the potluck. I didn't get on. I went in to watch a couple of guys who were fucking terrible, and I got so depressed I got the hell out of there. But I had this feeling when I was there, like I belonged there. Like I could feel the presence of the dead comics in there.
Yeah, they say it's haunted.
It is.
It's so haunted in there. Yeah.
It definitely is. But I did get stage time at the Ice House that week.
Oh, nice. I like the Ice House.
Yeah. Oh, God, they were not ready for me, I'll tell you.
Yeah, Pasadena may be a little conservative, more so than Hollywood. But whatever. If you're up there and you're funny, then whatever. You just do it. Just go for it. I mean, that's the thing. You can't change who you are. You can change your material for different audiences, but you can't change who you are. So sometimes you just have to go in there just, just balls blazing, so to speak, and just go in there and do what you're going to do. Like, that's the thing. That happens a lot sometimes. So my show, Ruth Retrieval, on Monday, we opened for a full drag show, which is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
And I booked mostly women and LGBTQ, just because those are a lot of my friends, and it's, that's what the room is. Yeah, of course, I'm open to anyone. My philosophy is I'll book anyone who's funny.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many wonderful ally comics out there that I'm like, great. But there's been a couple times where I would have like a straight guy come in and then pander to the room and try so hard to make a blowjob joke or to make a gay joke, and it's just like it never works.
Mm-hmm.
Because the crowd is like, you're not being authentic. They can smell you out. It doesn't matter. Like, yes, be mindful of the room that you're in, but they just want you to be funny.
Right.
So, yeah, I had a couple times that's happened, and I had one guy come in, and he got in his head, and he got really he psyched himself out the first time. But he's a very funny, very strong comic. So I thought, you know what, come back, try it again. And I told him that. I said, just do you. Just do what you were going to do anyway, really. And he came in, and he crushed it the next time. Crushed it. So, yeah.
Yeah, but has any comedians taken you on the road?
Well, I am gonna get back into working the road this year. Truth be told, I've been a little out of it for the past year and a half or so. I just recently lost my mom.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So the last year, I was setting all that up, and I had a tour lined up, and I was just, and then she got sick, and I couldn't. And I'm trying to get back into the game. It's very hard when you're grieving, because there are times when I can't fathom doing stand-up comedy. I can't fathom the idea of being funny. But then there are times when I can't fathom the idea of not doing stand-up. Mm-hmm. So, I lost her about 6 months ago, so I'm still in the kind of re-getting my life on track phase. But I think what I want to do this year, I'm thinking something that will keep me focused and maybe give me something to keep myself distracted with. I think I want to try to record an album this year.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I am talking to a friend about it, Ross Dunkirk, who's amazing. He's got a great label, and I met him at a festival in Kentucky years ago. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I don't have any women on my label. I love your material. If you want to work together, I said, absolutely. And I was supposed to record an album. I flew back to the club at Laughing Derby in Louisville, and everything was set up. We were ready to go. And when I got there, the owner of the club comes up to me and he says, "Oh my gosh, I owe you a huge apology." I said, "Oh shit, what? What happened?" He said, "I booked you on the worst possible weekend. It's Thunder over Louisville. Everyone's out at this huge festival. It's the precursor to the Derby, and no one's going to be here." That's all great. Okay.
Yeah.
That was my first attempt at recording. But I've been talking to Ross quite a bit now, and I think that's our goal. Is we're going to try to do that this year.
Oh, nice. You ever thought about doing a podcast?
I used to have one, actually. I had a podcast for a couple of years with, are you familiar with RuPaul's Drag Race at all?
Who?
RuPaul's Drag Race?
I don't know who RuPaul is, but no, I haven't seen Drag Race.
Oh, okay. Well, RuPaul has a television show that's been on for 11 seasons now, and it's very, very popular right now. Mm-hmm. But I used to have a podcast with Pandora Box, who was on that show, and we did it for a couple of years, and it was wonderful. I would love to go do it again. It's just she just got so busy and was touring, and we used to record at Sunset Gower Studios, and then they moved to another. So it just got complicated. We're not doing it anymore, unfortunately. But
yeah,
I would love to bring it back. Yeah, I'd love to do a podcast again.
Yeah, because you are a good talker, a good conversationalist. I think that you should definitely have one, to keep your following, going and stuff.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I should. There's just, I don't know, like I said, I'm trying to get my mind focused again, and it's been really challenging the past 6 months, but I'm starting to at least try to, really get, I've been doing shows the whole time. Sometimes it's easier than others, and I am working on material about the experience and her cancer and whatnot. And, I'd like to continue honoring her by talking about her. My mom was the type to, if she came to a show and I didn't make fun of her, she'd be like, "Why didn't you do the joke about me and the cat? Why didn't you talk about me?" She loved it when I made fun of her.
Yeah.
So, and she was cracking jokes up until her last days. And I told her, I was like, "Hey, Mom, that's funny. I'm going to write that down." So, I'd like to focus on that and keep writing and keep working through the loss, through trying to, because they say comedy is tragedy plus time, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Hopefully you can get a Netflix special.
Working on that.
Even if it's just one of those new 15-minute ones,
Yeah, there was a group of us here in LA who were like, "Oh, how do we get in?" And a bunch of us kind of found a way to submit, and they only had, a few spots, and I'm not represented right now. I book everything on my own.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where, unfortunately, they were like, "Yeah, we only take submissions from represented comics." I'm like, "But there are so many incredible unrepped comics." So that's why I also believe you have to create your own opportunities as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's people who have talked about, doing their own specials and putting it on YouTube so, they can build a following that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you can get people to watch that special on YouTube, then absolutely. And you can there's ways of producing your own special and selling it. One of my mentors, who I absolutely adore, is Sean Polofsky. If you're familiar with her, she's a regular at the store. And she shot her own special, and it is absolutely brilliant. It's so amazing. And she sold it, So there you have it.
What's her name?
Sean Polofsky.
Sean Polofsky.
It's Sean, Shawn.
Huh.
And
I have to look her up.
So Google Sean Polofsky, stretch it out, and she'll pop up. She's just fearless and so wonderful, and we get along quite well. She's also a straight woman who happens to be working mostly in the gay community. But they love her, and she looks like Barbara Streisand, so that doesn't hurt at all. But yeah. So I've always looked up to her, and she's doing it herself. So that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I've interviewed a lot of comics from the Comedy Store, both past and present, and they just tell me, back in the day, that place was like the Studio 54 of Hollywood. There was coke everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
There was people having sex everywhere. It was just insane.
Yeah, sounds about right. I mean, they still have that mirrored table back in the main room, the dressing room in the main room. You're like, how many people OD'd on this table? Probably a few.
Yeah, the ghost room.
Oh, yeah, the ghost room. There was one day we were up in the belly room, and this sign just, like, practically flew off the wall for no reason. It had been up there for years and had never moved, and it just fell. It hit my friend in the head. It was the weirdest thing, just out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was weird.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. But I love the Comedy Store, though.
Me too. It's just the greatest place ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I went to that place. Yeah, the Comedy Store podcast hadn't even started yet, and like I didn't know that Mitzi had been sick for a while and that she wasn't running it anymore.
Oh, right.
That's why I was hoping it was going to be a little bit easier to get stage time. You know.
Yeah, it's crazy because when you go there, if you park in the lot and you pull right up, there's a it's like painted on the cement. It says, parking for Mitzi only, and I don't know, it makes you kind of nostalgic,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, the first time me and my friend went, I got a chill down my back, a shudder, because we're walking up the ramp, and that's where Steve Lubekin landed when he jumped off of the Hyatt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just this weird feeling I got down my back.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do you have a favorite joke of all time?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I've never been asked that. A favorite joke of all time?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. No, I would really have to think about that.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, the person that I've been really gravitating towards lately, just because I just love the darkness and just how just evil and rude it is, but it's so smart, is I love Anthony Jeselnik.
Mm-hmm.
Some of his jokes, I mean, like his jokes, what is the one about the parakeet? It's like, I don't remember, but he's so dark. He's so dark and so smart about it.
Yeah.
Or the one about, like, his ex-girlfriend. He's like, for years I've been looking for my ex-girlfriend's killer, but no one will do it. You know, you're just like, oh my god, that's so rude. I love it. A great joke is Sarah Silverman. She says something like, so I was licking jam off my boyfriend's penis the other day, and I thought, I'm really turning into my mother. It's so good. Yeah, that's a brilliant joke. Yeah.
I remember one time Sarah Silverman was on the Comedy Central roast for Pamela Anderson, and she said, "You know how sometimes a smell will take you back to an old memory?" She says, "Jimmy Kimmel's ball smells just like my grandmother's house."
Oh, that's good.
And then she follows it up with, "I guess that's when you know that he's the one."
Crusty old grandma balls. I love it.
Yeah. I love that joke.
Yeah, she's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And oh my God, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great comedians out there, and some that don't get the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah, I know. There's many of them. And you just think, oh my gosh, why are you not famous?
Yeah. Well, some of them don't want to be famous, and there's some of them who, they get a deal, and then something happens.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, it's just such a crazy business.
Yeah. And, it's funny, recovering from my accident, and just my point of view has gotten more vicious in recent years in terms of just how politically incorrect I am and stuff. I just hope, I don't get looked at as like a crazy person when I'm up on stage at an open mic or something somewhere in LA when I actually move out there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it would be hard to move from city to city, and it's almost like you have to kind of start over a little bit and kind of reestablish yourself in a new city.
Yeah.
I never did that because I'm born and raised in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started in like the fucking mega, the mega city that everyone moves to. So, and if I had to choose, I don't know. I think I maybe would have liked to have started in a smaller market, kind of mastered that, and had a career there, and then moved out here. But that was not the way it was meant to be for me.
I tell people in the Bay Area, I say, if you're been doing comedy here a year and everyone fucking hates you, get out. But if everybody here loves you and stuff, be here 2 years and then get the fuck out. Because if you don't, you're going to be just like them. You're going to be a feature at the Punchline for life or the Improv for life over here, and you're never going to grow, and you're never going to think, what could have I done? You know, you got to go out there. If you really want it, you gotta go out there and see if you can do it. You know,
right?
If you can get out of your comfort zone,
right?
You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way you're gonna grow.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do worry about that for me and stuff, about me being looked at as crazy or anything, because there were some people who did in the Bay Area, some bully open micer comedians who are dicks to me, and it's like I'm trying to emulate my idols, all my heroes like Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay, Richard Jeni, and guys like that. I'm trying to be like those guys. I'm not trying to be like Scary Perry,
Right. Did you say Scary Terry?
What's that?
Did you say Scary Terry?
Scary Perry.
Oh, I thought you said Scary Terry. I was like, oh my gosh, are you referencing? It's not the cartoon. God, what show is it? Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I'm a huge horror fan. I love scary movies.
Oh.
There's this cartoon called Rick and Morty, and they have a character called Scary Terry, and they're basically making fun of Freddy Krueger. Mm-hmm. Hilarious. It's so good. I thought that's what you said. I was like, wow, that's brilliant.
No, I was talking about Scary Perry Caravella. And
gotcha.
But no, yeah, I love horror, and this podcast is generally horror themed, and I like to do departure episodes and do other things. But yeah, I'm a big horror fan. Like, what horror movies do you like?
I mean, I think my all-time favorite would have to be the original Halloween.
Yeah,
I'm a Michael Myers girl.
Oh, that's the best. I've been able to get PJ Souls on the podcast, but
oh, cool.
Yeah, I tried to get Tony Moran. He was a fucking dick.
Oh, lame.
But I had PJ Souls on, and I love Friday the 13th. The original is my favorite slasher movie of all time.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
And I've had two people from that on here. I love Dawn of the Dead. I love Reanimator.
Yeah.
Chopping. Yeah, Chopping Mall. The Evil Dead.
Oh, I love Evil Dead.
Creep Show.
The Bruce Campbell on it. Oh yeah, just watched that the other day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big horror guy, and I go to conventions and I meet all these great people, and I have them on the podcast. It's just amazing. I'm so blessed, I'm just a guy who's doing a podcast from my bedroom, and I'm so lucky I get to interview these awesome people.
That's how podcasts work half the time. I mean, didn't Mark Maron start his in a garage?
Yeah. But he's interviewed.
Yeah.
But he's interviewed the A-list,
Oh yeah, he interviewed Obama. I mean, that's massive.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to get, near that, someday, but oh my God, he's interviewed just incredibly massive people. And you know what? He has people seeking him for the interviews, not just him seeking them.
Right. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I mean.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's just insane. But yeah, I'm so lucky I got this. I'm 363 episodes in now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started in May of 17, and I started last year. There was only 44 episodes, and then I ended at 350 something beginning of this year. And I'm like, God, I mean, it's just insane. I got that many people I've interviewed.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So, do you have any upcoming gigs you want to plug or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously really excited about my Hamburger Mary show in West Hollywood, this Saturday at 10 o'clock. And then you can find me at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach on the 30th of this month, Wednesday.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the Laugh Factory yet. That's the one club I didn't get to go to.
Oh, I love the Laugh Factory. It might be my favorite. I don't know, but I really enjoy it there.
And oh my God, I found out that their like open mic policies are always changing. Like, now they got like the first 10 people in line get on and stuff.
Yeah, and people like get there hours in advance. I mean, at least it's better than going there hours in advance and then trying to get a spot for the next week. At least it's not that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. But yeah, I mean, there's so many people, competing for spots that it's just, you gotta really fight for it.
Mm-hmm. How far do you want to go in your career?
I mean, I would like to headline. I would like to sell albums on iTunes. I would like to be able to tour and have my name on a marquee.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. And I'm just trying to find a way to do that. I mean, I would love to do even like one of those 15-minute specials on Netflix. These are all goals that I would love to achieve. Absolutely. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm just in this really weird time of my life where I'm really reevaluating what is important to me and what I truly want to do. I mean, I think that's just a part of the grief cycle is you really question everything and you start to think about your identity and who you are and who's real and who isn't. And there's just a lot going on in my mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to take it. Sometimes I frankly have to take it one day at a time.
Right.
And a lot of us comedians are very sensitive people, and a lot of us battle depression or anxiety or whatever it is. And that's the reason why some of us are funny, is because we've been through a lot, and we find we have to be humorous about it to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we have to focus on self-care also. And maybe comics, maybe we're not so great at that because we're constantly just trying to get stage time.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to find that balance in my personal life and in my professional life. And I'm working on it. It's so fresh. 6 months is really not a long time. So, yeah, but I think the next goal will be I want to figure out when and where I want to record. And then I want to go out, work the road, and hopefully sell the album on the road.
Well, you seem to be doing just fine, and I think you are going to succeed.
Thank you so much. I hope so. Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure. Well, I thank you so much for taking the time tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Yes, I'd love to have you back on again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I hope your gigs go well this week, and
Thank you.
everything else and stuff. Maybe I'll see you when I'm in town. I'm supposed to come into town this April.
Yeah, let me know when you're here, for sure.
Absolutely. Well,
Perfect.
you have yourself a great night.
I will. You too. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Samantha Hale. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Samantha. I'm so glad you're carrying the Hale name and you're working hard and being persistent. and you're being strong with all your adversity that's going on at the moment. But I know you will I always get that wrong word, persevere, and you will do fabulously. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!